Hello, welcome back to part two of this interview. If you haven't already, please check out the link above and go back to part one of the video with Aaron here. It's a really good interview and we're just getting into part two here. If you haven't seen already, we're both wearing sunglasses now because it's just got too sunny here over at Aaron's holiday home. So yeah, we put the sunglasses on, but what we're going to do is crack straight back into it. So we're on the topic of money management, and yeah, if we could perhaps go into that a bit more. I know you're a big fan of utilising what funds you have and managing your month-to-month money as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to talk about on that?
So money management, again, as you said, Justin, I could talk about. We could be talking about this all day long. But let's keep it to the facts. So money management to me is a really important part, and I think when you can let go of ego, wants of materialistic things, the cars, putting everything on finance, when you can let all of that go and essentially keeping up with the Joneses, when all of that is squashed, and if you can do that, and you can develop discipline, that's when you're going to be on the road to real wealth, and when you can really capitalize and compound your money. So money management is a huge part of discipline and commitment. So for me, I like breaking it down into priority payments. So I call them PPs. So I have priority payment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many there are.
Yeah.
Priority payment 1 is your living, what do you need to live for you and your family? That is the first payment. That is the most important. So if you're earning, or you earn from a flip, a project, a deal, whatever it is, and you have a sum of money or you have your income, you need to be ticking off and managing your money by what I use as priority payments. So living expenses, paying off any debt that you might have, then your savings, then perhaps your stocks and shares, then an investment fund. But most importantly, before we attack any of those, we need to be building up, especially as it's revealed during this lockdown, and I know I talk about it a lot, especially on my group calls and in our group that we're a part of, is an emergency fund and a maintenance fund. Now, a lot of people will just do an emergency fund.
Yep.
I do a maintenance fund. That is my frontline defense. So a maintenance could be the cars have gone, we need new tires, you need a new cooker, whatever it might be. You need to pay an MOT.
General life.
General life. That is your that's your maintenance fund.
Yeah.
Beyond that should be an emergency fund. So I would say if you're looking to invest, organise and structure firstly your emergency and first defence maintenance fund.
Yep.
Whatever you want to call it, I call it maintenance fund. Once you've done that, then you can spread your wings and invest, because now you've covered yourself, because if something does happen, you have the funds there, which ultimately means you don't have to dip into your savings, you don't have to dip into your investment pot. When we get to investing, we want to use all of that to compound year after year after year and earn on it. We don't want to have to earn and then take back and buy a new car.
Yeah.
We want something in the background that if something does happen, which it does, that's life, we can use this fund that we've already put there and our investments can keep working. So money management, you really need to sit down and go, what are we spending that we don't need? Are we spending materialistic things more than we're actually building a generational wealth or a healthy life?
Yeah.
And sit down and actually have a good look at yourself. And it's discipline and commitment.
Yeah.
So I've got really strong feelings on it, but I'm really well planned on it, and I could talk about this all day.
No, I know you can, and I could listen to it all day. I like particularly the part, of course, of dropping the ego. I've mentioned that before in previous videos. I think that's a huge part of it. You don't need certain materialistic items if you really want to get yourself further as the overall goal in life. Then really sometimes just checking yourself, taking the ego out of the equation and learning to do that, actually it's quite a nice thing when you're at peace with yourself.
Absolutely.
And you know that you don't need those things. In fact, they come later in life once you have built wealth and you've invested well and you've got money. If you then want to treat yourself to a luxury item, that's the way I see it, that it's further down the road. And it kind of comes into and ties in a little bit with the PP, the priority payments. If every month you have met your priority payments, you've invested money and you've still got a bit of money, then you can, perhaps treat yourself a little bit, whether it's a meal or some clothes or something. You still want to reward yourself in small amounts.
Yeah.
But let's not get sucked into the Instagram lifestyle if possible.
There's, and that's the other thing. Every win, little, small, whatever it might be, big win, you have to reward that. So you have to acknowledge that you've had a win, whether that's a small deal or whether that's a big deal, or whether you've just, you've reached 1,000 followers on Instagram, whatever it can be, whatever you consider to be a win. But letting go of ego, being content, is really hard for, I would say, I'd be confident saying, people in their late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
As soon as you can become content and develop a reason why you want to develop wealth or riches or money, whatever your reason is, when you can hold that as the core, that's when you can structure around it. And what I mean by letting go of ego is, who cares that you went to school with someone who now drives a Mercedes on finance? No one. So many people get caught up in this. I have to be seen as driving this, because on a summer's day I want to let down at the top, and I might pass someone who I went to school with who might, even though they don't care, look at me and think, wow, they've got a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Let go of that. Go and drive a car that's going to save you money.
Yeah.
And put your money and build something amazing in the background that one day you can go, look what I've done. None of you knew about it. You all went and spent your money on finance cars.
Yeah.
Little did you know that I was building this empire, or building what you consider as an empire.
Yeah.
In the background, and do it humbly and peacefully, because I also do believe that karma comes around, and I think as soon as you start spending money you don't have, you bring this negative energy where you just can't develop real money. Whereas when you're humble and you don't spend money before you have it, is actually when you start bringing in the money. If you talk about money all the time and you talk about how much you're making, it actually has a negative effect, I believe. So let go of the ego, be content, be really structured and disciplined with your funds, and then you can start generating wealth. But have a safety net first.
Yeah.
Really important.
And I like that you touched a bit there on the importance of the reason why, because, at the end of the day, we can get drawn into different directions and chasing the shiny objects, when really your reason why, if you're anything like me, might be to leave the rat race, leave a 9-to-5 job. It might be to retire early. It might be to just be comfortable. You don't need big houses and ridiculous cars, obviously. Any car people out there, I know that that's something you might like, but that, as I say, comes later in life. But if you can focus your reason why, and it's that you want a comfortable life for your family, you want to provide for them, then, you're taking away, you remember that that's your reason why, and then you don't get taken away, by these shiny objects that come along the way as well.
Yeah. And it is. And look, a lot of the high net worths I work with are really successful people, and this is no by any means a joke or any kind of over exaggeration, but a lot of them, you would look at them and think perhaps they're just a manager in Lidl, or they're just an average person.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an ego. And, I know a lot of people who follow me or are in my group or have heard it on the call, but, I actually put up a post on Instagram earlier today, and I was actually referring to this certain individual who I met through someone. And if I had have no-knowed him from what he was wearing the first day I met him, I would have lost an investor. That guy then turns over 10 million a year. But he wears holes in his jeans. He doesn't wear the most fanciest of clothes. He drives a standard electrical car now, which probably costs him peanuts. But he can do all of that, and he can be comfortable, because guess what? Everyone else is going to work. He's earning 10 million a year, So he's done really well for himself. And that's what I mean. Don't know someone, and don't make your snap decision on what they look like, because little do you know, they might have something very big in the background, or they may be able to introduce you to someone who's very well off. So be open-minded, be nice to everyone, because you don't know who you're going to meet down the line. So
comes back to being a people person again.
Let go of the ego, let go of the chip on the shoulder, and actually start to become a nicer person, because I tell you what, it'll pay dividends, and it's paid dividends.
Brilliant. Well, let's say that someone has done that. They've narrowed down the reason why. They're getting their money management right, and they're building up a portfolio of savings, maybe £5,000-10,000. They're in a good headspace, and now actually they're full of motivation. They want to invest. What would your approach be as someone with £5,000 or £10,000? What's considered a smaller pot of savings, and perhaps even too small to invest in property fully? But what would your approach be? I mean, if you could take us on that.
My take, and this is my personal opinion, so not everyone's going to agree with this, and some people will go, not in a million years, or I wouldn't want to do that. But this is my take on it, if you have 5, 10, 15, whatever it is, but it's not enough to go and buy your first property.
Yeah.
Or you're in your 20s and you can't get a buy-to-let, maybe you still live with your parents, or you're still, whatever your situation is, you're in reality, this is normal life.
Yeah.
You haven't got the new Apple idea, so you're not going to earn 52 million as portrayed on Instagram overnight. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
We've got to do this the hard way, but we can do it a smart way. A lot of people will go down the route of, let's call it property, because property, you can relate this to business, but let's just keep it property. You go to a property networking course, you get sold a course, or we're bombarded on YouTube now with courses upon courses upon courses, some for 2, some for 3, some for 5, some for £25,000.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. If you go and spend that, you've spent it on essentially education that you may never apply. That's down to you. And you have this burden that you've spent this money. Some people have made a success, don't get me wrong. And I'm sure some training academies are brilliant. This is my take on it. Instead of taking that 5, 10,000 on training, find a deal, understand what you want to do. And let's just say you have a property development project that you want.
Yeah.
But maybe your education is there. Well, there's such thing as Audible. Listen to Audible. Educate yourself. There are books. Spend time around people who are doing it. Apply to be on building sites.
Yeah.
For free. Offer your services for free. Become educated. And education, I have done pretty much all through people who are already doing it, spending an absolute ton of time in London,
Yeah.
being the least smartest person in the room, choosing my circle of 5 very wisely, and then using the money that I had to invest in similar things that they're doing that is proven, but also what I wanted to do. Don't invest in what other people. Now, if you were to take 5,000, let's just say, and apply it to an education and a training academy, and nothing came of it, well, essentially it's 5,000 gone down the drain. Now go to a family office summit where there will be many rich investors.
Yeah.
But to enter that family office investor summit in Monaco or Dubai, you can go, you can apply.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay for the entry. It might cost you £2,500, £3,000. But what you're doing there is you're investing in yourself to go in a room full of multi-millionaires. And if you go there with 2, 3 projects that are watertight and you're really confident and you're educated in and you can talk about it and you can explain it as you were explaining it to an 8-year-old, what's to say you're not going to come away with an investor for life? Because you've got enthusiasm, because you've got courage, because you've got determination, because you're showing drive to an investor, a French investor, a Spanish investor, a UK investor, whoever it is. And you say, look, I've got this deal. I've paid to come here. I'm going to spend all night, all day networking. Who's to say you don't come away with a multimillionaire investor? You never need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
And that £2,500 has not been wasted. That's an investment in your project and now a long time investor. So there are many other ways. I'm just not a big fan of spending it on education because, look, if you want to know the answer and you think I know the answer, come and ask me and I'll tell you it for free. And by no means I'm no expert, but education can be free.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the amount that's out there in terms of, free content on YouTube, podcasts and, websites, and there's, of course, as you mentioned, audio books, which you and I both spend a lot of time listening to. You can learn a huge amount about the importance of finance, how to manage your finances, and as Aaron's covered, you can learn about property and then apply it. As you've mentioned as well, you could put yourself out there. You could reach out to local project managers and say, can I shadow you for free? Can I see what you're doing? Can I come and work on your site? If you are really set on being a property developer, a property investor, going and working for them on your day off for free, it should be nothing to you.
And that's the thing. When I originally started, I thought I wanted to go into property development. That's all I wanted to do. I'd kind of been involved in project management and stuff like that, and a couple of sites. And I thought, property development is what I wanted to do. And I wrote letters, handwritten letters, to many big family development companies, not big corporate ones because my chances were limited, and it would go through a corporate structure and probably never meet the director of who I was contacting. But the families that had grown a family business, I reached out to, and I was offering free services to say, look, I'll come on site, I'll drive anywhere, I'll get a license to be on site for health and safety, and I'll offer my time for free, because what I can learn, and then how I can use my money in the background to then perhaps go and be at the right place, but I may have to pay for an entry. I'm not spending that on education where I've got to be on one call a month. I've got to attend a network of essentially newbies. I don't want to be around newbies. I want my progress to go from here to here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in order to do that, when you start spending time around people who are doing what you want to do, it just goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Because you're with the people that, yes, spending time around people who are learning as well is a good bounce off effect. But that's all it is to me, is a bounce off effect. I want to be talking and spending time around those who are doing it, who have done it, who have been through the lows, who have been through the highs, so they can tell me what to avoid. So I believe there are smarter ways that you can spend your money, and paying for a family office summit, I'm just using that as an example where you go and meet a multi-millionaire and there might be 100 to 200 in one room.
Almost
it's a no-brainer. Why would you not? Or you save it and you invest it and you get educated. Forget the rush, just to finish on that. Forget about this whole rush that everything needs to be done tomorrow because so-and-so is portraying he's earning 20,000 a week and stuff. Forget that. It's not happening. It's reality.
Well, that also ties in, again, looping back with ego, because if you're sitting there, you're saying to yourself, I've got to take action. I've got to buy a buy-to-let, and I can say I'm a landlord at 21. If you take your ego out of that and say, actually, it doesn't matter if I buy at 21, 22, 23, if I educate myself properly and I go down the right route, then that will pay dividend in the long run.
Yeah.
It's just a case of checking in with yourself and saying, why am I buying? Why do I need to buy it next week? Next month? Is it just so I can say that I'm a landlord? Is it just so I can, have that title?
Do you know? And also, again, we need to look at reality. We need to take a step back, come away from the social media, because it puts you into a bubble, and there's so many adverts that put you into this bubble you're not even aware you've gone into, and you can come away depressed. And I know people who are putting almost like a shadow pressure on themselves for no reason, because they think, well, all these adverts are saying everyone's earning huge amounts of money and I need to do it. Marketing, drop shipping, whatever it is. There's so many things out there. Whereas look at reality. I look at numbers. Even with COVID-19, I look at numbers. Don't get me started about it. I could talk about that. But I look at numbers. And if you look nowadays at all the billionaires that are out there, would you say a majority are over 50 now?
Yeah.
Compared to the ones who are 19 and 20.
Oh, yeah.
And the ones that are 19 and 20... maybe there's a handful that came up with the new app that went mad overnight.
Yeah.
But the majority are over 50. Why? Because they've taken 20, 30 years to develop that real wealth. I don't want to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you want to be really, really wealthy, look at how long it's taken the majority, the realistic numbers, compared to, perhaps someone on Instagram is portraying to be really, really wealthy. There's always a new Benz in the background, new Porsche. Well, it just happens to be that mummy and daddy are probably quite rich. Is the truth of it. And without going on a rant, and I actually said this to you, but just remember, I've been to property events as well, and I don't know why, but a typical start for the host or the event runner, whoever owns the business, is always, just to let you know, I started in £100,000, £150,000 of debt, and I came out of it. Well, not necessarily true. There was probably, I think when you dig into it, their family were fairly well off and had businesses and could buy them out and stuff like that. But also remember, do you know what I find that? I find that psychological, because they say we were in debt. When it comes to the end of the course, they say, go buy our course. Well, some of them might not be able to. But of course, they were in £150,000 of debt. So if I only put myself in £2,500 on my credit card, these guys were in £150,000 of debt and they got themselves out. So subconsciously, you're already thinking, well, £2,500 is not that bad. And you tell your wife or your spouse, or your parents, and you say, yeah, but they were in £100,000 of debt and they got out of it through this course. You just got to be smart about it. It's your money. It's hard-earned money.
They're almost programming your brain through use of certain language, aren't they?
They're the best sale. They're hiring good salesmen. So, and unfortunately, there are a lot of newbies and a lot of naivety out there. So, which can buy into this. But look, there are good training courses out there. I'm not squashing it entirely. I'm just saying,
I know. Yeah.
Be mindful.
But to recap, take your time. There's plenty of things you can do to self-educate yourself, and at a lot lower cost. And, just take your time with it. There's an interesting stat. I can't actually remember the percentage, but the amount of billionaires and millionaires that had 2 or 3 businesses that failed or perhaps didn't go to plan, they had to sell early before they then went on to create this £1 billion product. You know, there's a lot of trial and error that comes with business, property, whatever it is. So, you know, just remember that when you're, you know, trying to get something by next month, you know, or by next year, you want a certain car through your property income or whatever it is. So that was really nice to touch on. And of course, it's really good to hear about how you personally, you know, view that. And I know that you're big into self-education. So moving on to a slightly, you know, different topic and going back to the high net worth investors. Of course, we are going to talk about the ebook a bit more in a second, but in the meantime, I just wanted to say, you know, a big part of what you do on a day-to-day and your job is relationships, building them, forming them, and then keeping them ongoing. Is there any more that you can give back to people when they meet these high net worth people in terms of that?
It is a people's game, and all I can say is if you're looking to build relationships with investors because, you know, you're a property sourcer or you want funds for your business, whatever your reason is besides the point, and the book can relate to anything that you do, but it is a people's game. And, you know, one thing that I found, and don't get me wrong, I've made the mistakes, therefore I've learned from those, but that's the thing, it was a mistake, but I've learned, is that, you know, meeting a new investor, you have to tailor. You know, if you're sending a template out on, let's just call it LinkedIn, to 50 to 100 investors, and you've not changed your template, your message, well, you're tailoring essentially a really generic message to someone who might not like that, someone who might never go on LinkedIn, someone who might only like a phone call, or someone who wants to see you face to face. You're losing chances daily and hourly by doing this. So you need to be reading profiles. You need to be understanding their likes, dislikes. You need to be saying the right thing at the right time. And you need to be having these meetings over. I've got like a 3-step process where first step is to talk all about them, but show my enthusiasm. Second step is to organise a meeting, discuss relatable topics. That's where I've done the background check. I understand what they like, whether they like football, rugby, a family person, relate myself to that, build that rapport. On the third meeting, a few weeks later, or via phone call or Zoom now, whatever it may be, is look to slowly and judge the conversation, put in your project. Or what I do, which is something I mentioned in the book, is a little bit of reverse psychology, is that once you've built this relationship with who you believe to be an investor, and you have enough information to say they are an investor, is that put out to them, I have, just to let you know, I just wanted to reach out to you. I have this project, or I have this deal. Do you know anyone that might be interested? Because these are the numbers, this is what it's going to look like, and I'm just trying to reach out to the right investor. And what you're doing then is you're giving them the deal, but subconsciously, you're not forcing it upon them. You're asking if they know anyone. So they're looking at the deal. They've already met you. They like you. And they're thinking, well, actually, I've got the cash. I like you. We've talked a little bit about what you do. You know what I do. We've got a relationship. I actually don't want to pass this deal on to people I do know. I want to take this deal. So subconsciously, you're not putting the deal on them. You're actually looking to go past, but knowing that they're going to take that deal. So it's being smart with it. And then what you'll see is, look, if you go on to complete a successful project with them, what are you likely to get? Reinvestment. You might even get an introduction on a bigger project. So if you then went second time round with a bigger project that maybe the one investor couldn't do, they might bring on their friend. Then you have this ripple effect. So tailor each message and approach, and also be different. You know, there's nothing worse than, I have messages on social media saying, do you invest into new projects? If so, we have projects. No hi, no how are you, nothing. Just really quick, because they're trying to do this whole big numbers. You know, they're trying to basically pump out as many cold sales as they can. And unfortunately, cold it goes. So
no relationship building there, is there?
It has to be relationship. I can promise you, to meet the real wealthy people, it will take weeks, if not early months. I promise you. Take time.
Excellent. Now, we've learned a lot over these 2 parts, and obviously we know that you are very much involved with working with these high net worths. What are your long-term plans? You know, in terms of your life, your investments, and working with high net worth individuals?
So I would say the plan, although in regards to working with my clients, I wouldn't say I have an end plan at the moment, but what I am lucky in the sense of is that I'm able to see how they're investing. And if anyone's ever read Rich Dad Poor Dad, there was a part in there where he said, where it was actually Robert who asked Rich Dad to say, I want to invest in what you're investing in, and actually Rich Dad turned around and said, you can't, it's only for the rich. Well, I've been lucky enough to see some of the avenues that only the really wealthy can invest in.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not on their caliber by any means, and I don't make myself out to be, but luckily through relationships I'm able to funnel some funds into models that they're able to go in. So I'm blessed in that sense. But working with clients, I continue to do it. It's now got to a stage where I don't actively look for more investors unless a new requirement came up where my current investors couldn't fulfill it or didn't want to.
Yeah.
So I will continue working with clients long term, continue building the relationships, and we will just see how that goes. But as far as the long term plan, it will finish in property. And I'm able now in a position where obviously I know we're discussing stuff at the time, but I'm able to make introductions to other people who might need help. So new projects that come through from beginners or people looking to start out, I'm in a position now where I might be able to introduce you, or personally I might be able to consider projects myself. So no exit plan as such, continue to do what I do, but we do look to kind of minimise it as I get older in life, but still very much enjoying working with clients at the moment.
Yep. And then but your long-term vision, I know part about is to really build a comfortable lifestyle for your family. Your family is 100% your number one priority.
Yeah.
And one day build a sort of comfortable lifestyle in which you can.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got a very nice balance as it is now, but where you can really enjoy that working balance with your clients and with your family as well. Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, good. Well, I think I've taken up plenty of your time, and we've enjoyed sitting out here in the sun.
Yeah, we have. Nice bit of sun.
Aaron, as I've mentioned, you've come out of an ebook recently.
Yeah.
Would you care to tell us a bit more about that and where people can find it? And
yeah, sure. So the ebook, real big milestone for me, and really pleased that I've been able to put that out. But yeah, it's called How and Where to Find High Net Worth Investors. And again, we're talking about real wealthy individuals. Where do you find them? How do you connect with them? What methods can you use against valuing your time and essentially putting in legwork, but doing it in a really smart way so that you can maximize your chances of actually building a really good pool of investors. So that's on Amazon now. So you can put in how to find investors or how to find high net worth investors, and that will pop up. And it's doing really well. So really pleased about that, and it's had amazing feedback. So I'm over the moon. But that's where you can find it on Amazon.
Yeah, I'm the majority of the way through, and I have to say you've done a really good job. It really breaks it down into a good way. There's some amazing strategies out there for finding them, and particularly ones I hadn't even thought of, or they're out there, but you don't always focus your brain into them, which is really good. So what I'll do is I'll overlay a bit of it here so you can see what it looks like and you know what you're looking for. I'll also put a link below, the Amazon link below. It's got off to a really good start since launch, and I highly recommend that you buy it and read it, and give it a review if you like it, and drop Aaron a message as well. So
by all means.
Thank you for watching part 1, and we'll see you in the next video.